Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Today I have a special treat. I am being joined by Mary McDonough, who played Erin Walton. And Mary and I sat down recently to talk about all things Waltons. So here is part one of that interview. So welcome to my YouTube
and it's
channel.
Just like we're in Burbank Studios, a huge airplane's flying over.
Oh, I know you were talking earlier about your gardener. I can never remember what day the gardeners come, and inevitably every time I turn on my video, they're going by in the background and cutting everything, and I didn't realize there was that much to cut.
I just thought it would be better to be outside because I usually do everything against a blank wall, right? So I have a lovely live oak for you,
Perfect.
The viewer's pleasure.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's going right now.
Cami did hers outside too, and her hair was blowing around. And
Well, it's really hot here in Texas, so I have the fans on. So my hair is going to blow around like I'm doing a 1980s photo shoot, but that's okay. You guys get over it.
It'll be very glamorous. So I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come talk with me and to share some things with all of our viewers I'm amazed by all the types of creative questions people ask me, and they have their
Well, you do such a good
favorites.
job with it. And you're my sister. Of course, I would show up anywhere you asked me to go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Of course. I mean, and you do such a great job, and everybody loves these so much. So I'm just glad to be here, and I get to be part of it finally.
Well, thanks. Yeah. So sometime back, I had someone ask me, they said, oh, it'd be really cool if you recapped like sort of all the romances on the series. And I immediately thought of you. I talked a little bit about mine, but I had so few even then I missed some.
You had romances.
I had a few
The
early on.
paratrooper. Did you talk about the paratrooper?
I mentioned him, but of course Kurt was a huge part of that. And then after there was David before Kurt, and then after Kurt died, then I wasn't
Jonesy.
dating anybody then there was finally Jonesy.
Richard Gilliland.
I know. That was so heartbreaking.
Richard Gilliland. I know.
Yeah. What is it about us? Both of our husbands.
I always say that Erin always kissed and cried a lot. So she always got dumped. I don't know what that said about her or me, but so the first romance, of course, was in the Fawn, the little boy from school who brought Erin flowers at the very end, and he was very sweet, but I was horrified, absolutely mortified to have any kind of a love interest at all. And I was very young. It made me very nervous. It was really scary. And then as I got older, because I didn't get your GW hand-me-down until later.
I had eloped. GW. Did you know that?
Oh.
Yeah. No, we were just, we were so young that we just played ball, and we went to the Easter, the dance that when I taught him, John Boy taught me to dance, and then I taught GW to dance.
You taught him how to dance. That was lovely. So sweet. Well, okay, so that was later. And in between that, I eloped, of course, with Chad, or Erin eloped.
You stole Chad from me.
Stole him from you.
That was my opinion. If it hadn't been for you, this is a story of my real life. It's like I literally in elementary school, there was a boy that I liked, but he liked another girl in the class, and I said something to her one time. Oh, the boy wanted to know if she liked him, and so I asked her. I said, well, he wants to know if you like him. She goes, yes, because I don't want you to have him.
Oh, mean girls. That's horrible. Well, and where is she now? That's what I
have no idea. She was gorgeous. She's probably like, a swimsuit model or something.
No, something. Well, so yeah, and and as we know at the end, Erin could have given him back to you, but he wasn't found to stand the mountain. But yes, because he was going to go off and get nominated for an Academy Award. So, so Michael O'Keefe, the great Santini, that's what he ended up doing. And he came to our 40th. And so that was like good to see him. But of course,
you had a number of your former beaux at that.
I did. And I don't think it's a secret because I put it in my book. Like my favorite to work with and person is Jonathan Frakes, who was Ashley Longworth Jr. And we just fit. We had incredible chemistry. And my biggest regret was that they didn't wait for him to come back and do the 2-hour episode. I'm sure all of you out there probably think, yes, that was a horrible mistake. And they should have waited for him, but he was doing a heart-to-heart in Hawaii. So they recast and it just wasn't, it was just so difficult. And we ended up looping most of it. And they should have just waited for him because it didn't make sense, the storyline, because you wouldn't see why was Erin torn. But if it was really Jonathan, you would have understood because of the past history and with the whole Paul Northridge kind of thing. And I loved kissing Jonathan Frakes. So, I mean, we had a thing where the camera almost knocked us over because we started kissing and we didn't know when we were supposed to stop because they panned over to Miss Emily.
Yeah.
And she's standing at the right, but we had no idea. And so they're tapping us like, you can stop now. He's like, oh, well, we were just in character.
Nobody said cut.
working. Yeah, there was no cut. So it was so Jonathan is great and fun, and he was wonderful and charming. And, that's who I always wish that they had put Erin back with, that he had gotten his act together and he had come back to the mountain and the Ashley Longworth thing. And then I had to kiss people all the time. So, remember when Henry Darrow did the show and he played the kind of slimy movie producer when they came to film in the World War II thing? Right. So he comes up to me and we're filming. He says, yeah, isn't it interesting that we're going to kiss? I said, no, we're not. He said, yeah, you didn't get the revisions? And I'm such a gullible, person. I thought he was joking. And no, it was rewritten. He leans over and lays this kiss on her. I was stunned.
Wow.
I was very stunned and shocked. And then, of course, Paul. There was Paul Northridge, Morgan, rest in peace, and Morgan and I had fun too. We had a good time. He would just he teased me all the time, and it was horrifying too. All of them were horrifying. I don't know why. I think when you have your first kiss or your first kisses, and they're in front of a camera, in front of a crew of people who've known you since you were 10, 11. And, it's just like having all of your uncles and cousins there watching you kiss a boy. It's just wrong. But I had such a terrible love life in real life that doing stuff on the show was always very challenging for me.
Well, I know that I was always kind of like, oh, now who's Mary dating? Oh, and now she's dating. I was just always like, wow, you just had this what seemed like the perfect Hollywood love life. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm just kind of dating regular guys.
Off camera?
Yeah.
Off camera?
Yeah. You dated actors. I didn't date actors.
Yeah, that you were smart. You were smart.
I know. I went back
never
and forth.
Date actors.
Oh, you think that they're going to understand, and yet then it ends up, on the rare occasion I did it, it's like there's this competitiveness. If you're a woman and you're successful and your career is more successful than theirs, then it can be, I found, problematic. So, but then I'd date regular people and I'd be like, well, but they don't understand. It's like, what do you mean you can't be home by, what do you mean we can't plan something? Because of course with our life, you couldn't. So it's like, well, can we go to this thing on, it's like, I don't know. I might work late.
I was really smart. But see, I married someone who is not an actor at all, but very funny, who's actually at the window right now.
Hi, Dawn. Well, we both ultimately married wonderful men, so
yes, we did. Like
for both of us.
Like normal people, I don't know. Yours, yes, maybe not mine. Mine's goofy, silly, and wonderful. But yeah, so yeah, I dated actors, but I also had I don't know if I should like even say this, but I used to go everywhere with Jimmy Van Patten. He was my Hollywood date. And he was perfect because he knew more people at the events than I did. And we were great. And he wasn't really a date. He was just a really good friend. And so what I did was I hid my private life behind my public Jimmy Van Patten dating life. And so I had my very first love, and I didn't take him anywhere. But people kept saying, who are you dating? Who are you dating? And so I would bring Jimmy, and it was perfect because I really felt that my first love was private and I didn't want to share him with everybody.
I want to thank Mary for joining me, and we will be back with more of that time that we spent together in another segment very soon. So thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time for more behind the scenes of the Waltons, more Ask Judy, and more with Mary McDonough. Thanks for watching.